the Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what are you guys up to?
Oh, a little weed, you know.
It's the Weedsman Podcast Nugget.
Zippity what?
Ready to drop the bass? Let's drop the bass.
Whoop-de-doo. What does it all mean?
All the random stuff that didn't fit in Friday's show you'll find here.
Oh, okay.
Hey, man. You got a joint?
Got a little bit of reef rice smell on your breath?
What that mean?
Please, just give me my weed, all right?
So I got a new favorite piece of audio from this week. I'm not sure how. This had to come across your radar this week. I want to see if you can guess what it's from.
New piece of audio?
Yes.
Okay.
Because you get a lot of your news from Twitter, right? Or a lot of the things that pop up in.
I mean, I wouldn't describe it like that,
like,
certainly to a stranger. So,
but like when things pop up, like.
But yes.
I just want to see if you can guess what this is.
I hear about things a lot first from Twitter, and then, yeah, I don't. That's not my soul. Yeah, I guess the answer to that question is absolutely. I get a lot of my news from Twitter, and I just don't want to admit it because it sounds bad when you say it out loud.
I know, right?
But what else? I mean,
well, no, trust me. I'll be like, why the fuck is this trending? And then I'll click on it because why not?
Did somebody watch Pete Buttigieg eat a chicken wing?
No.
No. Okay, wait.
Why didn't you stay in Mexico?
You didn't see that? It was a school board meeting or some kind of school board meeting in Saline this week. This went national
in Michigan.
In Michigan,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was looking at local news stories this weekend too, and I didn't see that.
And there was a father was describing his son was crying himself to sleep over the bullying he was getting at school. So then some guy replies with,
then why didn't you stay in Mexico?
Which was funny because after he does this, he does the George Costanza, the whoa, while the crowd does this.
You need to leave.
Which my first thing I thought was that so he leaves and he's not racist,
right?
Like it's no, it's just someone who disagrees with you is now not in your space.
Yeah,
but it's,
why?
That's my new favorite audio. Like we have actual audio.
It's a great
outrage caught on tape. That's what's for everything now.
It's good quality. There's not a lot of background noise. I mean, this is like fully ready.
It's audio caught. It's outrage caught on tape.
This could be like the Wilhelm scream of outrage. This will start popping up in movies. Every time somebody does something disgusting. God, if I was a filmmaker, I would do that so much.
Then why didn't you stay in Mexico?
Well, Michigan went for Trump in the last election, right?
I think Macomb County did it again.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Macomb County. Apparently some listeners from Macomb County. Did
you see the photo that the official White House photographer posted? The one with him you can see clearly this, like, he's got a red face.
The line, the orange line.
Yeah, and then white around that, and then the yellow hair.
I feel like,
and he's saying that it's Photoshopped.
I feel like I'm about to defend Trump here.
Why? Because he looked like Wilson.
No, because somebody who's always on being photographed and on TV part of his routine in the morning might be pancake makeup. Because he's old and HD is a thing.
He says it was Photoshopped.
Oh, well, he's not helping himself. That's what I would go like, hey man, I'm 72. HD TV is a thing. I'm always having my picture taken. I'm always being videoed. I put on pancake makeup in the morning. That's your easy out. To me, that's your easy out. I put on pancake makeup in the morning. Because I know I'm going to be having my picture taken. I know I'm going to be on TV. Like, that's the way you get out of that.
I don't think that he's ever admitted to wearing... He doesn't admit to... I don't even think he admits to tanning. Well, I mean, that's the thing. How else do you... We know what the president does in general. And if he was getting that kind of color naturally, well, I don't know how you get it naturally, but if you'd have to be out you'd have to spend a significant amount of time tanning. That's like a vacation type of tan. Trump wants to look like he's always just back from vacation.
We had a principal like that at our high school.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, he had
Well,
to
the
fake
90s,
tan. He
like-
had to fake tan. That was one of the jokes that was going around about him. Guy always looked like he had to be. If I showed you pictures of this guy, you're like, yep, fake tan. Mitch Ritter.
90s was a boom for the tanning salons. You started seeing them pop up everywhere.
Especially too, I graduated in 97. So yeah, for sure. Like it was in full.
It was not just for strippers anymore.
No, all these bitches were tanning. Oh, Homecome's coming up, gotta go tanning. Oh, prom's coming up, gotta go tanning. I'm giving up my V card Friday night, gotta go tanning.
I'm not particularly attracted to tan skin. And I'm not.
No, because after you do it for a decade, you look like a leather purse.
Yeah, I don't choose to do that for myself either, but I'm not.
Dude, your
I'd
face
rather
and my wallet shouldn't look the same.
I like pale skinned girls, honestly. I'm Scotch Irish. I'm pale and I like pale people.
I like women who look their age. If you're 30 and you look like you're 40, first of all, stop smoking, stop drinking, but also stop tanning.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of you out there. Don't act like, and if you're listening, wait, hold on.
And you're outraged.
I'm just voicing it for them.
Oh, that was their outrage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of our downloads come out of California. Don't act like there's not a lot of you listening.
But they can just tan naturally in Cali, right?
Yeah. So the sun does the same shit the tanning bulb does. That's the problem.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's not like it's a cancer-free version of tanning your skin.
I like to think that I'm 40, and there are certain days I look my age and certain days I don't, because I don't go outside a lot.
I don't like to think that I'm 40.
Oh, right.
I like to think that I'm still in my 20s. That's part of how I
a few years
keep my youthful
might
appearance.
disagree with you.
I don't tan. I've never been in a tanning booth.
Yeah, I try to avoid outside.
I think there was one time in high school where I was like, I'm going to lay out. And, you go swimming or something like that, or go to the beach. You might just get a tan naturally. I never set out to get one. But now, the last time I was at a beach, I don't know when the last time was.
Right.
Then why didn't you stay in Mexico?
Of course, Michigan doesn't have like great beaches necessarily, does it? We have a few, but they tend to be overridden with like creeps.
I married to someone who grew up
like
on a
topless
coast,
parties.
so every time I call something here a beach, he just looks at me and scoffs.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
Nothing here is a beach.
If you go to the, you're talking like the coast of the.
She's from the East Coast,
Right? Yeah.
So when I call anything here a beach, she's like, nothing here is a fucking beach.
Yeah, you can't really get much of it. You can get a decent beach on a lake.
Lake Michigan's got its spots. They've all got their spots.
Yeah, it's just not something you do as an adult, though, is it?
Without children, no.
You just go. I want to go swimming. You might choose it as your workout, but other than that, like, what are you going to do? You're bobbing around, toss a ball around, stand on your hands.
You're trying to pick up chicks?
Like, there's
what is
no-
this, the 60s?
Unless you have kids, then there's no frolicking in the pool because you're just a weirdo, right?
Yeah, you're just a weirdo there by himself.
Or even if you had friends. What are you going to do? Get a few guys together?
Hey, let's go to the beach. No,
Yeah.
no, hold on.
Or even just a pool. I'm just thinking about swimming in general now. Like beaches is a location. Like you want to go to the pool and so you can hold their breath the longest?
Gay!
No. I'm just trying to say, because this is what going to the beach with your friends essentially looks like. It's how gay it looks.
Let's go! Okay, I
These guys all went, hey, let's go to the beach.
They're also doing something
These
at
guys
the
also-
beach, right? They're playing a game. Even they have their hands taped up for volleyball. Checks his digital watch real quick. Look at Val Kilmer is great.
Kenny Loggins had to sit in a booth and sing this with a straight face, by the way.
I imagine he wrote it, right? Was this song, because we've talked about how Kenny Loggins has, his history with movie songs, but this seemed like it was purpose wrote for this scene.
Right. It's like, all right, here's the gayest song ever to go with the gayest scene ever. There's a lot of shirtless man-on-man action going on. Some hugging.
That one dude's mustache.
Gay!
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
The Weedsman Podcast.
Like the mustache is making a comeback.
Is it because everyone's shaving off their beards?
I think so. We're finally back to. It's been a long time since you've been able to. This was even in the 80s. You're kind of phasing out. Like 70s was the last great mustache era.
Sure was. I don't know. The 80s kind of had its.
80s was
the mustache had its place.
The mustache had its place, but if it was on TV, then you were the creep. You were the lech.
That was more in the 90s,
shortcut.
I thought.
Like back in the day, you'd give a guy a top hat and a monocle, and you'd have like the long twirly mustache. Now the porn stash in the 80s was that. It was your shortcut identifier for molester.
See, I thought that was more the 90s, or was that maybe the late 80s?
No, I don't know that you get a lot of mustaches unless you really want to signal that somebody is a throwback, a dinosaur, a total creep. Well, look at 90s is Friends, right?
Yeah.
And who was Monica's big love interest before she hooked up with Chandler? It was Tom Selleck, and there was the big deal about the mustache. Whether it was weird to have a mustache. And I think at one point he got rid of it, and then everyone was like, no, you're weird. So yeah, I mean, look, the 90s, Tom Selleck finally gave in and shaved his mustache, whether it was in the script for Friends or not. I think they had to write around it.
He has it back now. He's on Blue Bloods. He's playing an old police chief.
That's true. I think
now it's old stately Tom Selleck.
None of this conversation applies once you have a gray mustache, right? Is his gray?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So a gray mustache is something totally different. You're not necessarily a creep or anything. I mean, you're just an old dude.
There's shades of gray in it because he's still trying to ride that Magnum PI nostalgia.
Right. Yeah, but it's showing his age. Yeah, Tom Selleck should never have gotten rid of the mustache. But who was it now? Why can't I remember his name? Man, I can't even come up with a good movie that he's been in. He played the Green Goblin in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films.
Franco?
No, his dad.
What's his nuts? Defoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe. Man, I could not come up with that name. He was sporting a mustache.
Ooh. Is that the new old guy move then? Is a mustache?
Was him and somebody, I think it was like Joaquin Phoenix or something, that was rocking a mustache. Of course, these actors...
Joaquin Phoenix would be winning an Oscar right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe he will.
It's a comic book movie. You don't win for a comic book movie. I said it last year.
Yeah.
Even though I know it was a hell of a... But, I mean, I got to stick to my guns. Even though I heard it was a hell of a performance.
If you were putting money on it, you would not put it on.
Comic book movies don't win Oscars, man. At least not now. Maybe there's going to be some... Maybe he's the guy that shatters the paper ceiling in the movie industry. Ink ceiling, paper ceiling.
The newsprint? No.
The newsprint ceiling? Is it still actually on newsprint?
No, it hasn't been for a while.
Is it on glossy paper?
Well, they all went glossy for a while, but then now you have a lot of publishers doing this kind of matte finish, but still same like higher paper stock.
Gotcha, but it's not newsprint anymore.
Yeah.
You're not getting the ink on your hands.
Well, I mean, preservation of some of these classic comic books has become an issue because of the low quality paper. And it's not like there's backups or some kind of archive that they can pull from. When they want to do classic reprints, originally when Marvel started doing Masterworks and stuff and realized that they could make money off of selling these big omnibus collections of, a whole decade's worth of story, they were going back and finding those original issues and scanning them.
Just to digitize it, just to...
Not even to digitize it. I mean, this is just to reprint it in another format. They didn't have, they didn't keep anything for this. Like the original art...
That's the only way they were getting it.
Traditionally, the original art would, while technically owned by the publisher in most cases, was never really collected and held on to. I mean, the type of archive that you would need to maintain would be ridiculous. And, they're producing so many comics each month. They couldn't even catalog all this. It would cost too much. And the artists would hold on to it, and some of them found later on, too, that they could actually make money off of this by selling the original art. Now it's kind of known. Artists, a successful comic book artist, even a relatively, a successful one, will have an art dealer. And, well, I guess it changes with digital now. It's different. But those who still work traditionally and are going to have, doing inks and pencils on paper and all that, they're making, I would imagine, half their income. Like half is probably straight from the publisher per page rate. The other half is selling off the original art that you drew for those issues. But now people are doing like mixed media. If it's not all digital, like a heavy amount of it will, to the
digital
point where
is disrupting everything. It's crazy. It's only just begun. Like the next frontier that I'm saying you're going to see in the next 10 years is how it's going to disrupt manual. It's coming from manual labor in the next decade.
Yeah.
Like, and then not just like, I'm saying like fast food workers, shit like that. Like people who work in retail stores, digital's coming for you by 2030.
Last couple times I was in a Taco Bell, I had some dude with a broom just go, "You can use the terminal if you want."
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah, I want it."
Like, no, it's 2030. Like, yeah, manual labor, digital's coming for you. It just took its time to get to you because it took a little longer to figure out how to replace you.
We'll give you $15 an hour when there's 3 of you.
Yeah, that's what I've been screaming the whole time. The jobs that are left are going to be $15 an hour.
Yeah.
Because I'm behind the scenes. I'm like, we are planning to phase out people. That's essentially what we're going for now. We're essentially going for how's there going to be 2 or 3 of you behind the counter. So what is left will be $15 an hour.
Yep. And eventually, like, these companies are going to actually start getting behind redistribution of wealth because they're not going to have enough people left to buy the shit that they're making.
Yeah, like digital already came for the media business, and it's now manual labor. You're next. I'm telling you. All right? Terminator's going to be real. Skynet's coming for us.
Thousands of bats have taken over a town with residents afraid to leave home or take their children to school. The Mirror is calling it a bat tornado.
Well,
that
sounds kind of cool.
So intense, the local hospital's air ambulance was grounded as they made it impossible to fly.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Bat tornado.
Taking over the town
New
of
band name, I call it.
Ingram, North Queensland. I don't know, somewhere in the UK. Councilman Raymond J.O. says, "It just seems to me that every bat in Australia..." Oh, this is in Australia. It just seems to me that every bat in Australia is now in Ingham. Of course this is Australia. Like, what the fuck, Australia? Australia does not have enough people.
Aren't they displaced from the wildfires? This guy's got to go.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's
Why do you hate bats?
There's at least 4 different species, and because they all have young at different times, there's hardly a window of opportunity when we can interact with these bats to try and move them on. Well, they're so polite. Right? I mean, in the U.S., we'd just be, like, spraying them with, like, some sort of pesticide or some shit.
It's true.
Elon Musk would design, like, a huge turbine engine that would just suck them all up and spit them out as like, pulp.
Again, also sounds cool.
I guess Elon Musk was asked by Jack Dorsey, is that his name, the Twitter
guy?
Yeah. He asked his opinion on how to fix Twitter. Elon Musk has his specialties, right? He's obviously been a very successful businessman, whatever you think of his
You know what I'd say to that question? Apparently you not running it if you have to ask someone how to fix your own company.
But, well, I don't know.
Especially Elon had a rough 2019.
Public relations has not been his strongest
My opinion at the beginning of 2019 versus my opinion of him at the end of 2019 are two different opinions of a man.
Elon
at the beginning of the year, I thought he was a genius. By the end of the year, I was like,
right. When you didn't know what his voice sounded like.
Yeah.
It's like before Jared Kushner started talking, you were like, that guy looks smart. What?
Is this where we're supposed to cue Gilbert Gottfried?
Yeah, but to think that, like, to look at Elon Musk's Twitter feed and go, this guy's doing it right. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, did he invent Twitter,
make
or
cars
is he
good?
Just like a CEO that was hired to run it?
Jack Dorsey? I don't know. I know he's the guy. He's the face of Twitter at the moment.
He's the co-founder and CEO of Twitter, and listed by Wikipedia as an American computer programmer and internet entrepreneur.
Why? Why did you do this to us?
Oh, I enjoyed my Twitter a little too much at times.
Twitter is just, it's Todd is the best description. It's it unleashed is what Twitter is. And I don't know how good that is for us.
Yeah. Well, it's like anything. If you understand what it is that the type of information that you're ingesting is, then I don't know what I'm trying to say. I agree with Todd's assessment.
And if everyone thought like you, I'd be okay with that, but they don't.
It doesn't. I mean, I certainly let it color what I read and understand that this is designed to be a series of dashed off thoughts, right? And yeah, there's been, people can use the format to thread a conversation or something to great effect at times, but mostly that's what I'm looking for is people's dashed off thoughts. And one of the things that I like about it is the way that it does allow us to, by broadcasting our more mundane things, we find commonalities. Like, I'm not the only one who likes to stick his pinky finger into his belly button on occasion. It feels good. I don't know why. And I wouldn't normally tell somebody that. But I might tweet it out, and somebody else would like it and go, oh yeah, that's kind of weird, but I thought I was the only one. Well, and certainly those can go into
if only that is what we used Twitter for.
Darker places than 165-pound man's belly button. There's there's greater depth to explore in Twitter if you choose to. I just don't. That's part of what I like about it too, is that you have great control over your feed, and I change it often. I purged a lot of conservatives from my feed. And this isn't like people that I've been friendly or friends with on Twitter and all of a sudden decided that I don't like their politics anymore. These were people that I followed that I completely, absolutely disagree with, but I'm curious to, the same reason I tune into Fox News on occasion or read more of their stories online, to be fair, because I want to know what they're talking about. I still want to know what people I disagree with are saying. Especially if you're going to have an argument with somebody like that,
At this point, you figure you got it.
You're prepared.
You followed them enough.
But there's certain people on Twitter that I'm just like, they have been so consistently bullheadedly wrong about everything in the months that I've been following that I'm not getting any more information out of this person, right?
Yeah.
I've got it. I get it. No matter what this president does, you're not going to turn on him. Mm-hmm. And I've purged a lot of whiners, too. People who I found every time I look at their feed, it's just complaints.
Yeah, that's just annoying.
But Twitter's also kind of weird and unique, isn't it? Like, they've probably gotten the least amount of slack for not clamping down on certain users that others might disagree with. Like, they get the Nazis off of Twitter. And I think it's mostly because people are like, what, it's Twitter. But like, what do you expect?
Well, Twitter's got that reputation.
Right.
Congratulations, your society cesspool. That's what people generally think of you.
Which, again, I think it gets a bad rap. But then again, it's hard to defend. I mean, if you can find vile shit on there, if you look, and I'm not talking about digging deep enough, like if you just know what hashtags to search, you can find some crazy fucked up shit on Twitter. So it's really hard to argue with it, like being on the platform. I guess it's just my privilege, right? I can keep myself sheltered, my own little corner of.
We all have that privilege.
Comic book Twitter and
we all have that
and sexy female comedian Twitter.
You don't have to. Twitter's not like a social security number. You don't have to have it.
Yes, yeah, that's true.
The only reason it exists on my phone is for the accounts for all the podcasts.
And it's not like I used to use Facebook and then went over to Twitter. I stopped using Facebook and for a while didn't do any social media.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing things on Twitter that I thought were funny or entertaining, and I was like, oh, let me give this a shot. So, yeah, and if Twitter stops becoming enjoyable for me, I have no issue stopping it, and I wouldn't necessarily be looking for something else. Twitter just seems like a unique experience for me. I wouldn't look for something else to fill that hole necessarily. I'd just find a subreddit of belly button fingers.
Oh boy. If you really want to be weird about it, go on 4chan. Well, then that just turns into penises in belly buttons, doesn't it?
Right. 4chan is the id of an abused child.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.